In this video, we're going to be taking a look at multiplying decimals by decimals. Today's goal is to use regular multiplication steps to multiply decimal by decimals. We're going to be building on what we learned in the previous videos of multiplying whole numbers by decimals. The key tip of the day, and I want you to write this down, is to remember the total number of digits to the right of the decimal in the problem needs to equal the total number of digits to the right of the decimal for your answer. Just like we did the other video with whole numbers times decimals, now it's going to be decimal by decimal and still the same exact concept. Now we have a problem such as this one, and we're going to do what we did yesterday or in the previous video of just putting the number in parentheses of how many digits are to the right of that decimal. So 1 for the first factor and then 1 for the second factor, okay, giving us a total of 2 digits to the right of the decimal. Okay, so that's going to be our first step. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. Now we have 0 and 8/10 times 0 and 1/10. Okay, so we're just going to multiply 1 times 8. That's going to give us 8. Okay, now whenever we have a problem like this, we can just multiply the 1 times the 0, and that's going to give us 0. Okay, now we don't have to multiply 0 times 8 and 0 times 0. We can just stop here. Now what we need to do is check how many places are to the right of the decimal in my problem. 2. So that means 2 digits need to be to the right of the decimal for my answer. I've given us a total of 8 hundredths. So 8/10 times 8 tenths times 1/10 gives me 8 hundredths. I'm going to do another problem for you. It is going to be 0 and 5/10 times 0 and 6/10. So once again, the first step, we want to see how many places are to the right of the decimal. 1 in my first product, 1 digit to the right of the decimal for my second product, for a total of 2 digits to the right of the decimal for my answer. Okay, now what we can do is multiply 6 times 5. That's going to give me 30. We're going to ignore the decimal completely. Okay, that's going to give me 30. We put a 0 here, carry the 3. 6 times 0 is 0 plus 3 gives me 30. Okay, now we don't need to multiply 0 times 5 and 0 times 0. We can just basically finish. Now what we do is key in on the number we put in parentheses here, which is 2. That means 2 digits were to the right of the decimal in my products, and in my factors, and 2 digits needed to be to the right of the decimal for my product for an answer of 30 hundredths, or even 3/10 would be an equivalent answer. So I want you to get out your pencil, and we're going to do these together now, okay, and get out graph paper as well. So let's look at 2 and 3/10 times 18 hundredths. Let's write this out. Now we've just been doing single digit by single digit. Now it's time to do 2 digit by 2 digit. Same exact process, we just happen to have a decimal here. Okay, first step, we want to check and see how many digits are to the right of the decimal. We have 1 in my top product. We have 2 digits to the right for my second product, or our parentheses here, giving us a total of 3 digits for my answer need to be to the right of the decimal. So that's the number we need to think about at the very end. Now what we can do, just simply multiply just like we know how to do, ignoring all the decimals. 8 times 3 gives me 24. I put my 4 in the ones place and carry my 2. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 is 18. Now what I will need to do is erase the 2. I'm going to go to my next step. Okay, I'm going to multiply by the number in the tenths place. Okay, put a 0 here, and then multiply 1 times 3 gives me 3. 1 times 2 gives me 2. Now I can start adding my 2 partial products together. As you can see, same exact steps. With whole numbers, we just happen to have decimals here. Okay, 4 plus 0 still gives me 4. 8 and 3 gives me 11. I put my 1 here, carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus another 2 is 4. Now we're not finished yet. We have 3 digits to the right of the decimal for my answer, so that means 3 digits need to be to the right of the decimal for my, 3 digits to the right for the problem, 3 digits to the right for the answer, giving me a total of 414 thousandths for my answer. Now we have 3 and 1600ths times 9 and 5 tenths. First step, I want to see how many digits are to the right of the decimal. For my 3 and 1600ths, we have 2 digits to the right. My 9 and 5 tenths, we have 1 digit to the right, giving us a total of 3 digits to the right of the decimal for my factors. Okay, next step, we're going to start multiplying. And then we're going to completely ignore these decimals. 5 times 6 gives me 30. Put my 0 here, carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Multiply 3 and 5 is 15. And like I've said before, you need to know these basics facts right off the top of your head, and if you don't, you need to practice them. Okay, next step, multiply by our 9. Before we do that, I'm going to put a 0 here. Now 9 and 6 is 54. Put my 4 here, carry my 5. 9 and 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. Put my 4 here, carry the 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28. Okay, now I've worked really hard with my multiplication. Now it's time to add my partial products. But it's really important that you are not careless. Okay, 0 and 0 gives me 0. 8 and 4 gives me 12. Put a 2 here, carry the 1. 1 and 5 is 6, plus 4 is 10. Put my 0 here, carry the 1. 1 and 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10. Put my 0 here, carry the 1. 1 and 2 gives me 3. And I have 3 digits to the right of the decimals I can see right over here. So that means I need to have 3 digits to the right of the decimal for my answer, which gives me the answer of 30 and 20 thousandths. Now I want you to do these two problems all by yourself. We have 8 tenths times 7 tenths, and then 6 and 24 hundredths times 3 and 4 tenths. When you're finished with these problems, I will have the answers for you. So I want you to pause the video now. Now we have our answers here. We have 8 tenths times 7 tenths gives us 56 hundredths, and 6 and 24 hundredths times 3 and 4 tenths gives us 21 and 216 thousandths. So make sure your answers are the same as what I have here on the screen. If you missed something, please look at my work and see how it compares to yours. If you have any questions about this concept, please feel free to rewind the video and definitely come in and see me.